Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thor's Day. Jupiter's Day. It is currently 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, January 11th. And I am going to bring to you a little weather update. Today's weather tonight. Welcome to today's weather tonight. I should really get like an automatic, like an intro going. Okay. Let's go ahead and share screen. I'm going to show you what I've got going on in this other window. Wait, let's have it on the screen I want it to be on. Okay. Window, whole window. There we go. And let's go ahead and check out today's volcano map. Looks pretty similar to yesterday's. We've still got some active volcanoes erupting in Central and South America. Oh, whoops. Central and South America. Oh, I have my bookmarks bar. Are you going to judge me? Let's see. It'll come up here in a second. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're having a great evening. All right, here we go. Rincon de la Vieja volcano. Minor eruption warning. Fuego still going. Masaya volcano. Sabanyanca volcano still going on. That's actually where there's also earthquakes going on over there. That's really cool. East African. That's been going on for a while. Still got Merapi going off in Western Sumatra, Semeru. And then there's also a lot of earthquake activity in this area as well. I want to also point out that, I can't ever click on this one without clicking on Bezimi and Miani volcano, but I want to look at Kamchatka. Mount Kamchatka is also erupting out there. They only have minor because it's not technically erupting over in Iceland. Speaking of Iceland, let's go ahead and look at Iceland because they don't show everything on that volcano map. This is data from the Icelandic Meteorological Office. And they aren't showing magnitude by color. They're showing time since the earthquake with the color here. So red is in the last 4 hours. Orange would be in the past 4 to 12, 24, blah, 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 blah. So these are our earthquakes for today. These red ones have recently happened. The orange ones are for today. The yellow ones are also from today. And the blue ones will be from yesterday. The magnitude 3 earthquakes, those I believe we'll be able to see on the big earthquake map here. Because this is by a different volcano. This is a, what do I call it? Yeah, let's do Icelandic. Oh, I thought I had brought that one up. I guess I didn't. It was probably in here. Which volcano is that? I'll know it when I see the name. It's one of the main Icelandic volcanoes. Yeah, Grimsvötn. Grimsvötn is the one that had the earthquake today. Let's see. Are we going to pull up data? Is it going to work? Yeah. So here was that earthquake. Not much significant uplift, but this is a different kind of volcano than the one we're looking at near Grindavik. This is a kind that's like almost always explosive. It's a very vertical, like traditional volcano. Whereas the Reykjanes Peninsula is kind of like looking for a volcano there that doesn't exist yet. Let's get this this a little closer. Can I get this even closer? Because it's just really not white balancing correctly. Let's look at the uplift data while we're on the subject. We're kind of peaking out. There's a lot of GPS stations that are well above where we were on the December 18th eruption. But two people I'm going to point out to follow for better information than I have, two volcanologists and geologists. Well, really, they're reporting what the geologists and volcanologists are saying. Are Sean Wilsey, geology professor Sean Wilsey, and On the Pulse with Silky have been two great sources of information for dissecting this volcanic data. And they have both explained that it's possible that this going over the threshold where we erupted before is due to, without erupting, is due to the rock that was the cap before having gotten deformed and heated up from the previous eruption. So like the Earth's elasticity is one of the variables that contributes to the elasticity is the heat. And the warmer Earth can move more easily. And the colder Earth is more brittle and prone to discrete energy going into it and then all of a sudden erupting. Whereas the warm, you can kind of see it and then go. It's more ready to receive the energy when it's warmer. When it's cold, it just breaks everything when it gets that much energy, which is an interesting lesson for spiritual energy as well. Let's look at our interactive earthquake browser. They did actually have that large, and look at what it was. Here in Iceland, we had a 4.2, let's say. So 4.2 at 10 kilometers depth. And then yesterday we had a 4.1 up here at 10 kilometers depth at almost exactly 24 hours apart, which is kind of wild. So it took a day to get down here, I guess. I would say that I think that this 4.5 near the other volcano in Iceland is probably more related to that global wave of mid 10 kilometer depth earthquakes that's been rocking around the globe. Still have, because like these were the ones from yesterday, and they're not going much of anywhere vertically. I think they're translating through the plates. I really feel like this could be shaking the whole plate all the way up to here. And then this is just where we got our first European land off. But here in the Hindu Kush region, near Afghanistan, Tajikistan, northern India, Pakistan, that is, I think, transferring the energy downward into the earth. I feel like this is, because this is where one of those drop-off stations was for the 4.5 and 10s. I think that this is going down into the earth. So am I making any sense? Isn't it? I think it's really cool to see hurricanes, see earthquakes come in to this region and just kind of like focus in and get stuck in this little interference pattern of the mountains, the little waves of interference patterns of the mountains, and like suck it down into the earth. Makes you wonder like what the vertical motion, the into and out of the earth, what energies are going into and out of the earth, and how do they do that, and what causes a vertical trigger? Are there vertical fault lines? Are there it would be really cool to get to see, like, if again, I was talking about the other day, you can't go around and swim in the earth unless you're made of matter, or unless you're a rock. We're made of matter, but we're also made of light and energy and water, and so we have to stay up here. But the denser you are, the further down you can sink. Let's go back out, because over here in the uh Pacific here, we've got, that was yesterday's Mariana Trench, I think, getting that. It really took it there. And also, all the way out here in the South Pacific, we got a new 10-kilometer depth, 5.2. I feel like that came from this. I feel like that. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what I feel. Um, this is, we're getting deeper into here. So I feel like this is all the energy that came from that shallow wave is dissipating itself vertically throughout the region. We've got uh, lots of active volcanoes around here too. So it would make sense that we would have deeper earthquakes, because that has to do with like the vertical volcanic motion. Again, in these, what is it? South of Fiji Islands, Kermadec Islands. What does this say? These are Fiji Islands. And this is where we've got active volcanoes all along here and here. So there's also a lot of active volcanoes in Africa, but we're not showing very many earthquakes. But that doesn't mean there aren't any. It means the data stations aren't spaced out evenly across the planet. And speaking of data stations, all data gets, or all data for earthquakes measures in units that weather also happens in. It measures in units of like the way that GPS meters move, and magnetometers move. These are all in small, like very, very sensitive to like extremely sensitive instruments that could be used to sense weather, but they're tuned to sense even smaller movements than weather. But when big weather movements happen, it can't help but mess up the data. So what I'm saying by that is it's all weather, all the way up and down. The earth is weather. The whole ground is also weather. And the sensors are susceptible to terrestrial atmospheric weather. And let's look at what it looks like to just see weather through sensors, because that's what we're kind of seeing on these volcanic and earthquake maps. We're just seeing weather through dots, stations. We won't see the weather clouds move. We won't see the thing that's causing the storms. We'll see the effect of the storms. So with volcanic and earthquake activity, we're still back in the phase of science where we don't have a grid of network data. We have isolated research stations where we can kind of pin them together, but we don't have enough data yet. This is what weather looks like under those same conditions. This is the Coco Ross network. It's a community collaboration, rain, hail, and snow network. This is a type of citizen science where you can have a rain gauge in your backyard and report every 7 a.m. Like every morning, you need to report how much rain you got from the previous day. So when we are looking today at 11/24 data, we're actually looking at the previous 24 hours. So this is where we got rain events throughout the country yesterday, and the day before that, which would have been reported at 7 a.m. on January 10th. So this would have been the big Tuesday rain event. This is what the rainfall totals we've been reporting there. And it's important to note that when people record their rainfall totals, if it snowed there, they are doing meltwater equivalencies. And we actually got like in the upper threes all the way through the Appalachians to New York. Very interesting line there. And you can also look by precipitation type, see what got snowfall on Tuesday. Tuesday snowfall. I mean, it looks like we did get dustings up in the upper mountains here in the Carolinas, Appalachias, West Virginia, but trace amounts mostly. Lots of snow up here in the Wisconsin, Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa, well, not Nebraska, Iowa area. I always like to look at this part of the map. I think this looks like a little chef guy. Do you see it? This is his face with the little nose, and then this is his chef hat. And this is his little torso and body, and this is his lower bite, and this is his feet, and this is his little grill, and what he's cooking is Kentucky, and the grill is Tennessee, and then the deep south is like, I guess, the boiler vats of the hot fry oil underneath. Okay. That's just my I'll give y'all my visual tick. And then you can click on counties. Anyway, I advise everybody to take part in the citizen science because the more weather stations we have, these are all real people. These are amateurs, professionals, students, academics. These are all kinds of weather observers, weather enthusiasts. So if you're a weather enthusiast, I highly encourage you to start a monitoring network in your area. Let's see what North Carolina has. Yeah, there's several in Buncombe County. Zero to trace, zero to trace, zero to trace. This is actually, I'll note, interesting. Let's go to big weather map, though. This is the type of weather map that I would love to see produced for. I would love to see. Get my white balance right. Look, I just can't do it. I just can't get it quite right. Let me try to get this one to lower a little. That's a little better. I look a little healthier. Let's see. Oh, this is the Euro, so it's not showing any snow. We've got another wave of big polar air. If you see this like spilling region, once you look at contour maps long enough, you'll be able to see them as a fluid. And I see this as like a fluid spilling. This polar air just spilling down into here. Because let's look at the upper dynamics. Let's see, 250 millibar wind. Yeah, you can see it. The upper dynamics sometimes show the larger. It's funny, like the more zoomed, the higher in the atmosphere you go, the bigger of a picture you get. So like the big picture here is that there is a merging of the subtropical jet and the polar jet coming together. And that is just, I mean, it's really creating a lot of severe weather throughout the Southeast. And we're going to see that the severe weather, or the Storm Prediction Center, has issued severe weather outlooks for the Southeast for the day currently shown. And then, we're back in analysis land. But this is what just happened. This is today's weather tonight. This is what happened from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This was our big trough. And you can see what I was talking about. When they go from positively tilted to negatively tilted, they really scoop up all of this jet stream energy into. That's where all the it's like being flung out to the edge of the roller coaster chair. It's that angular momentum that just like so that's what happened. But as you can, it's really You can't see it on this map, but it is not cold enough to do good nor'easters. Like, let me show you like a lapse. Let's get a photograph for New York. Look at these temperatures. Still way too above freezing. There's still way too much of, I mean, and this is your cold nose that you want. This is where you get the good snow development. And this is where it's just too cold. It's just ice. This spells, you know, it should be snowing, but it's just too hot down here. Let's look at air masses. Oh, I was looking at the derived winds for showing the difference between surface and vertical. Yellow is low, cyan is mid, and red is high. Level winds vertically throughout the atmosphere. And this is why I think there are multiple seismic waves rippling across the globe at the same time, because in the atmosphere there are multiple levels of weather patterns happening simultaneously, and they interact because they're happening at different verticals and like different uppinesses, different heights. And so you see, this is that jet, and this is the polar jet. This is what's actually happening. Now, what I was looking at on Tropical Tidbits, that is a numerical forecast model, and this is actual satellite data. So this is what's really happening, and this is what's predicted to happen. But what's really happening is a lot of moisture from that really warm Pacific coming up into the Southeast United States. But I don't want to downplay what's happening here in the Pacific Northwest. This is a lot of polar cold air coming over the Pacific, getting warm, and just dumping massive amounts of snow up here. I want to show you the 12-hour precipitation. Look at that. 4 inches of rain in the higher elevations of Northern California and Oregon. We've got also a lot happening up here in Maine, but the main the main story is, wow, lots of precipitation over here. We've got, let's show where that is happening as well as, no, that's right, no. What did I want to show? Oh yeah, these are jet stream winds. That is really booking it down here and then coming into Texas. This is about to merge. This area that's in the Pacific Northwest right now is about to come down into Texas, and in Texas it's going to meet with the tropical air mass and cause a severe outlook for Texas. So, and then move into the Southeast for another weekend round of severe weather. So we keep, even though our pattern has shown that we are just staying warm and wet in the South and even East Coast, like the lower elevations of the East Coast, the coastal areas of the East Coast, it is not snowing. The climate is hot. It is hot. Climate changes differently in different places for different climates change at different rates and in different ways. This one is a doozy, because we are still getting, and just gonna not go on that tangent. Let's take it further out from the weather. It is interesting to note that it's the new moon today, so all of the gravity is sunward. I always find that to be interesting to note with weather. I feel like angular positions of the moon definitely enhance and also decrease certain aspects of weather. Space weather, current space weather. Because of course we go from 300 millibars up all the way to 10 millibars up, all the way to, let's look at what's the highest up. What's the highest up I can get? I want to do, let's look at, that's not telling me anything. Where did I get? Oh, null Earth. Null Earth is where I get the 10 millibar map. I want to look at the 10 millibar map before we move up to the sun. Yeah. Look at that. Okay. You can really see there's so much going on there. I think this is where the North Pole is right now. I'm not saying the poles are shifting, but I am saying that the magnetic centers in the northern and southern hemisphere are not exactly where they used to be. So this is the big cold air mover meeting up with what it didn't spin out here. This is where we had earthquake today. Very interesting, right around here. This is where the volcanic ash is going to be going, just looping itself back in. I mean, these are like stratospheric levels. These are ionospheric levels. This is what, like, the very crust of the atmosphere of the Earth. Look at that big warm pocket up there. Just nuts. Nuts. That's not a warm pocket. That's a low wind pocket. But let me show you the temperature. That's cold. Let's see. Hotter, hotter, cold, cold, cold. That's pretty cold. Pretty cold aloft, but look at this. How did everything go off my stream? What the fuck happened? Well, I don't know what happened there. I don't know how long it was like that. Sorry. I might have double clicked, but I've got a lot of notes on here that I have. Let's make sure I've gotten through all of them. Ring of Fire in the Pacific going very off in the lava world. Oh, I forgot to tell you when we were back. This is why I write a map, because this is why I draw a map of what I'm doing. A worker who was trying to fill in the cracks in the ground in Grindavik has fallen in to one of the cracks. I made a community post about this last night, but I don't know if it's not gonna. I don't want to. I don't know where to show when I'm talking about this, but uh, somebody in Iceland has fallen in to one of the cracks in Grindavik that they were trying to refill in. And there is currently a search going on. However, 13 meters down into the crack, there's water. They are hitting the water table. And there's also the crap that they put in there trying to fill in the gap. So it's a really dangerous situation there. I don't like the way that I'm not going to judge. I don't quite understand the motivation for letting people back into Grindavik right now. I don't quite understand the motivation for opening the Blue Lagoon again. I think that both of those places are going to see a massive disaster soon. We're just not set up for success here. I don't know what their evacuation plan looks like in Blue Lagoon. I don't know how Grindavik residents are going to get out if it erupts. They've got those big berms. They've got like several meters high berms that are surrounding the towns in the Reykjanes Peninsula, surrounding the Grindavik and also surrounding the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon. But I don't know if it shows this on this map. Does it show on the hazard map where the berms are? Yeah, no. Well, is that what that is? They basically go around here and they're building it right around here as well. And I think, guys, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. This looks like it's just going to spill into these areas. I just don't understand how it's not going to. Anyway, let's keep going. Follow Sean Wilsey and Silky on the Pulse with Silky for more Iceland updates. Let's see. Had earthquakes in Hawaii, the South Pacific, the Hindu Kush region. Iceland is from that shallow spread and probably not from this, but they're all connected. They're all happening in the same earth. Let's zoom out to, we got literal feet of snow in the Pacific Northwest. The Storm Prediction Center has predicted that there will be, has released severe weather outlooks for the Southeast in the next few days. Went to cold Ross. Oh, cold blast coming in. I think this cold blast coming in is not going to be great for Earth, for terrible infrastructure on Earth. I think the infrastructure in America is crumbling, and the cold is one of the extreme conditions that can induce that crumbling. Look how beautiful that cyclone is right there. That is just exactly what you want to see, with cold and warm. Beautiful. But that's why it's a severe weather threat. It's very good mixing. But I fear that infrastructure might suffer if we get big polar blasts rapidly. I think rapid polar blasts are what is more damaging to infrastructure, because you think about what I was talking about with the lava, or the magma under the surface heating up the rocks and making them more and less brittle and stretchy. Well, if you get a big cold blast to, let's say, some weather sensor, let's say, for example, let's picture a pipe, a water pipe. There are weather sensors on pipes located at welds and such, or not welds, but like joinings and different nodes in the pipe system that have temperature and humidity sensors on there so that they can sense if something broke in the pipe. They also sense if they need to heat up the pipes so that they don't freeze. These weather sensors, if they break be due to extreme conditions of like random cold floods, like maybe for instance, a big flooding event in the southeast and then a big cold polar blast that freezes everything that just got super saturated. Um, or really saturated. I'm not gonna say super saturated because that's technically a term for something, but really saturated. They'll break the sensors and then the pipes freeze, and then you have an infrastructure collapse, similar to what happened in Asheville, North Carolina last December. I don't know if that made like national news, but there was a water infrastructure failure in Asheville around Christmas last year. And for the week between Christmas and New Year's, there was no water uh, for much of the town due to uh, pipe bursts, freezings, etc. And that was due to a big, like, we got down in the 20s and teens, like overnight. I think that's also a danger of changing weather patterns is we don't have that fall to slowly soak coldness into the area. We're having like it's really fall condition. Like the faster the temperature change, the more damage there is to break materials. Uh, and a big polar blast could break materials in infrastructure that would be bad. Um, so let's move on from that to today's solar weather. There were 3 M class flares today, very low M class flares, but still happened today. I mean, this is where I was broadcasting last night with all these C flares. Um, had this today at 1300 UTC, which is about -8 or 9 for here. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning. 3 or 4, yeah, 4 or 5 in the morning here, and then it 4 or 5 in the afternoon today, probably right when I woke up. And yeah, again and again and again and again. Actually, I don't think I did those time conversions right, so don't listen to a word I said about the time conversions. But I find it interesting to look at the this day in history section. Very interesting to see what flares we got. We are up on some spot numbers, meaning we are not even close to peaked. Uh, oh, there were also radio blackouts accompanying these solar flares. So, uh, 1.3 flare, minor radio blackout. Another flare, minor radio blackout. Still in progress. Let's see if I can see a radio. I think that goes on this page. Let's look at. Oh, it's not on here. I think maybe it's on auroral activity. off again. That's so weird. I think my computer can't take this. I think my little Chromebook is doing its best, but it's just really struggling. Um, Up here is where we're gonna see that other one. Let's look. I like watching them. To me, the flux ropes look like they're twiddling their thumbs, just waiting to launch, just thinking about, when am I gonna go? When am I gonna go? This one up here that you saw launch real heavy, you can see it getting ready to go, getting up into its like thick, hot ropiness, and then poof, and then right under it, you see these like parabolic spring ups of what was right underneath it. That's what's pushing. Um, this is an incredible sight to see. I just love watching the eruptions. Just love watching the waves. Like, I came into this world just to watch the little waves do their thing. I'm so happy I got so many opportunities to look at the little waves. Um, this star is in line with our moon, and like the moon is between us and the sun right now because it's the new moon, and Mars is slightly behind it, and we've got Uranus and Jupiter off to the left. Let's look at our today's current planets. I think we are right around, yes, we are right around the moon conjunct Pluto right now. This is a very powerful broadcast. Very powerful broadcast because we're at moon conjunct Pluto. We're in a Jupiter day, a Saturn hour. We've got sun conjunct moon means a new moon. This impact, I have an impact chart pulled up here. If you believe in medical astrology, then the organs this new moon is associated with are backbone, joints, knees, skin, hair. That's the Capricorn stuff. Impact chart. These are the degrees. So if you have some significant placements in your chart between like 15 and 25 degrees, this new moon will be impacting you in the following ways. If you've got something in Taurus, you'll be trining. If you've got something in Aries, it'll be square. If you've got something there in Capricorn or in Cancer, like the US Sibley chart does, then it's opposing the US Pluto, I believe. Or no, this is the US Pluto return, but it's opposing some stuff in the natal chart of the US. There's also all kinds of inconjunct and all kinds of impacts. Let's look at the chart for the exact time of the new moon. That was at 11:57 UTC. And when was, did anything happen at 11:27 UTC? No, not really. Let's look at flux, solar flares. Let's look at what was happening at the time of the exact new moon. I find it very fascinating to look at times, like exact times. Yep. That was right here. Yep. That is where we were. We were at a C 4.23 level flare activity at the time of the exact new moon. And since then, we have had 3 M-class flares. You can see that this is trining Uranus, squaring the nodes in Aries and Libra, and Mars is still here. Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter are still here in this grand sextile formation. Let's look at I don't remember which one I wanted to look at. Oh, yeah. People can work without getting tired, careful, consistent, entrepreneurial. Yeah. And Jupiter sextile Saturn is extremely positive. I feel like Jupiter gives Saturn its shine. Jupiter gives the beneficity to Saturn and Mars in this time so that we can get the absolute best of how Mars and Saturn can work. Really expansive, breaking down barriers, doing your shit, getting your fucking shit done, getting your work done. What is the resolution? What is the work we're doing for a resolution? We are breaking it down. All right. I think that is all I've got for you on. Well, is there anything else I wanted to say? Mercury's past that square with Neptune, so it might be easier to talk. It's not showing on this chart, but I still like the Chiron trine Venus in Sagittarius as a way to break out of imposter syndrome that was triggered by the sun squaring that Chiron earlier in the week. And by next time, I think I'm going to have let's look at the graphic, the circular ephemeris. I just like watching these. Let's look at, I don't want to look at that one. Let's look at January 2024, colored, filter, and do inverted. All right, look at that. I love these circle ephemeris charts. Is so sexy. I just love seeing this. We're going to get, so these go from January 1st out. So we will get Venus into Capricorn by 24th. It'll ingress into Capricorn. And at that time, Mars and Mercury will still be in Capricorn. The sun will have left, and Pluto might be making its way into... Pluto is just really hard to see. I don't remember when the official ingress into Aquarius is, but I think it's sometime mid-January. Wait, maybe I can... Does this come with the tables? No, it doesn't. It's just circle ephemeris. The ones that are looking pretty straight line, those are either slow-moving planets or planets that retrograded and went direct. So you can see where Jupiter started, it's going direct. You can see where these are where like they start and stop. I'm really intrigued by what's going on here in January. This is what already happened. We are here in this little bitty bit. This is where we are at. Yeah, Venus won't be co-present with the sun or moon here. But I think that's a good thing. Venus will also... Let's look at next month. Hold on. Is Venus going to revisit... Venus and Mars going to revisit the place? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Venus and Mars aren't... They are enclosing in on... So 2 years ago, January 2022, Omicron is rage. It's all the rage. Everybody's sad. We thought this was the first holidays without it, and now it's back. That was a Venus getting enclosed by Pluto in Capricorn and Mars in Capricorn. That was like the absolute attack, assault of vengeance, like the death of Venus in Capricorn. And this time we're getting revenge, I think, because Venus is moving past Pluto and Mars. Venus approaches Mars. This time she doesn't get enclosed by Mars. Like last time Mars came and squished her into Pluto, and this time she comes back, sees these little fuckers being all sneaky in Aquarius, and she comes in and is like, "What y'all doing over here? You gonna hurt another Venus like you did 2 years ago? I don't think so. This Venus is gonna move right through. Aquarius Venus is a cool cucumber and gonna just cool breeze all of you. We thought you were such a victim. No, I'm a victor. Yeah, from victim to victor. That's what I'm calling this Venus move. I'm also excited about next month. There's gonna be Saturn, Mercury, Sun pile up. That's going to be cool. I'm getting a Mercury Cazimi on Saturn. Wow. I mean, not looking forward to it, but I'm just like, wow, that's going to happen. And that'll be sextiling Jupiter. Interesting. Okay. I think that is all I've got for you today on these things. So I'm going to hide this so it can stop throttling my bandwidth. Maybe you guys will get a prettier picture. What did I want to talk about today? I think energetically, I had some thoughts today that I wanted to share before I share our cards. I've been using tech to resonate with unity consciousness. I think that we're in the material world in order to, well, we all have different reasons to be here. But one of the things I'm finding in my life is when there is a mundane version of a concept, there is a spiritual version of the concept. So with social media, that's the mundane version. That's the physical version. And there's also a spiritual version of social media with like oversoul groups and unity consciousness and psychic activity and being linked together. The mundane version of it is like, I have to make computer with tubes connected to computer. We have to have a physical link between all these places to talk. Or the physical link is that we're using the physical ether. We're getting very connected through the ether, but like the ether net. But there's also spiritual ether that we can connect through, and that's harder to tap into. But I think that we learn our lesson of how to do it in the physical world. Like our lessons we learn in the physical world need to translate to the spiritual world, because they're the reason we came to this format of the world. Material induces resonance with spiritual. So if you don't know how to do something spiritual, do the physical first. Learn about the physical, learn about every vibe of the physical, and then see, through entrainment, perhaps it will be revealed to you along the way through the lessons you learn in implementing something in the mundane physical world. You'll get it later. The show is a time sign for travelers. This is a time crystal, a pattern, doing things every day. This is like the most obvious time crystal, because every day I am broadcasting about what the waves were. Weather is the waves, and waves are states of being one place or another in time. Not binary, but like the scale, the gradient. And I think it's important as we're moving into 2024, 2025, and the future, there will be more people traveling in time. I'm not talking about science fiction time traveling. I'm talking about timeline jumps. Everybody's going to be able, not everybody's going to be able to do them, but like more people will be doing them and aware of that. And they're going to want something to look at and be like, what vibe am I on right now? Did I make it to the right one? Did I make it to the one where this happens? This is, this show is intended to be like highway mile markers for people making timeline jumps. I don't know if timeline jumps is, I got a little bit of scratch, like not a scratch throat, a dry throat when I was talking about that. So maybe it's not right. Let me think. I'm creating a vessel in which records about the material world will be housed. That's why I'm not predicting the future on this. I'm trying not to do too many forecasts. I'm trying not to, I'm trying to just roast forecasters, trying to just analyze what forecasters have been saying so that we can better understand where we are in time, when we are in time, and what the other resonances are doing. I also think it's important to watch the weather for your spiritual development. It's important to know what the weather is because it's our collective spiritual development. It's important to realize what the weather, not what it is, but like what it has been the past few days in order to cement yourself in, like, find your place in the collective vibe. If, like, it's an important thing to know that if you had a sunny day, but the rest of the world was on fire, it's important to know they were on fire. But if you had a on fire day and the rest of the world had an on fire day, it's like, okay, we're in this together. But if you had a sunny day when everybody else was on fire, it's important to know that you're the one keeping the hope alive for a sunny day. Don't feel bad because your conditions are different. Feel ready to talk about them. Okay. So got orally cleanse the space. Shake out all the old vibes. Calling in any advice for everybody who's watching this stream, which is no one except for me and the future people. Hello, future people. Comment down below. Let's get a good let's not get a good shuffle in. Let's just... All right, got a new one. New to me. This is a new deck that I just started using for this stream. So I'm learning as you are what they say. This one says, I make many decisions and then I make them right. That is a roast. I make many decisions and then I make them right. Your true work in this perfectly balanced universe is to weigh continually your new stimulation of thought against the existing beliefs within you, thereby deciding what you now want. Oh, that is exactly what I was just talking about with placing yourself in the global collective. You know what you're doing, and then you don't, and then you figure it out again. Your true work in this perfectly balanced universe is to weigh continually your new stimulation of thought against the existing beliefs within you, thereby deciding what you now want. That's very, very important. I think that's very true. And that's how models work. But that's also how perception works. Synthesize the new information with the old. So that's what I've got for you guys today. It's very loud, big sigh. We're done with the stream. We can move on to our day. Let's have a great one. Have a good night.